Hello, everyone. Today is October 2nd, 2021. I'm here with Kyle Reilly. Kyle is an electrician apprentice. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Kyle.
Yeah, of course, man. It's always good talking to you.
Good talking with you too. So, how what is it like being an electrician apprentice?
Um, Being an apprentice in like a union, um, they're a little bit strict on the education part, but I enjoy it because they offer like a lot of benefits and uh, stuff like that, and we don't have to look for work. They look for work for us. And it's a
The
pretty good
union?
deal. Yeah.
Okay. How is the education strict?
They are just very strict on like turning your homework in on time and showing up to class on time, and they have some pretty like hefty um, punishments if you're like late or don't finish your homework. They'll actually like hold back your upgrades for 1, 2, or 3 months at a time.
Wow.
So it's strict, but um, I enjoy like learning all these things in depth, and I don't think you could get that at a non-union shop.
What things are you learning?
Recently, I actually just finished a class yesterday. It was AC theory and electrical safety, but it really started to get pretty complex, like trying to analyze capacitors and inductors in a circuit, and uh, kind of really understanding how electricity works. There's a lot of calculations and a lot of steps where you can go wrong. So luckily, I had a good teacher this week, and I ended up getting an A in the class. So
Nice.
that was exciting.
How long is the class?
Um, each class is 1 week. So how it works for the apprentices, we work for like 8 or 9 weeks full time, and then we'll take 1 week off every 2 months to go to school. Um, so we spend 40 hours during the school week at the school, and then at the end of each week, we take a final, like on that Friday, and you find out right there if you pass or fail.
Wow, that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah,
Did you say how many do you take in a year? How many classes?
6.
Oh, that's not too many.
Yeah, 6. So that's 240 hours, I believe,
Okay.
something like that a year of school.
That's so 6 weeks of school. That's not a lot of school.
Yeah, it's definitely part time, but I think that's why the program is 5 years long, because we're working full time, and then we also have to do our schooling. So, I mean, I think it's nice because I don't have to pay for the schooling.
Yes.
The union, buys all my books and stuff. But yeah, it's 5 years is a pretty long apprenticeship. But I think that's because there's a lot to learn when it comes to electrical. You do not want to do stuff the wrong way when you're working with electrical. It could definitely end up in a lot of bad situations.
I'm sure. Have you heard of some bad situations?
Yes, yes. All my classmates, they all have their job site horror stories, and like my teachers will show us when they're doing our safety classes. They'll show us like accidents just so we're aware of like how easily they can happen to anyone.
Yes, very easily.
Yeah, but actually, surprisingly, in the electrical field, the number one cause of accidents and injuries is falling off a ladder.
Wow.
I guess a lot of people would think it'd be getting shocked or electrocuted, but the numbers show that it's just falling.
Falling off a ladder.
Yeah.
How often are you on a ladder?
Me personally, I'm on a ladder every day, just because I'm doing like with the company I'm with, we do retrofit lighting. So
What's that?
we pretty much go into businesses and they have fluorescent light fixtures in their ceilings, and we go in and take out the old light bulbs and disconnect all the old wiring to the ballast, and then depending what we're putting up, we have to like choose the correct ballast for that application, wire it up, and then put it in the LEDs.
What's a
So
ballast?
a ballast is pretty much like a driver for to control the different tombstones, which are uh, contacts for the light bulbs at each end of a light fixture.
Okay.
Um, so, from my understanding, let's say you have 120 volts coming in, that'd be way too much for those light bulbs. So, this this ballast, it kind of is like a transformer where it kicks down the voltage. Uh, so the 120 goes through that ballast and then is distributed with however many volts is required by those specific light bulbs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the ballast controls the voltage?
Yes.
Got it.
And it also distributes, like once it brings it down, it distributes because light fixtures, there's sometimes like two lamp fixtures or like six lamp fixtures. So that there'll be like anywhere from like 3 to 7 wires coming out of the ballast, depending how many lights are on that fixture. So it distributes that power as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it controls it and distributes it.
right.
So what's connected to the ballast? One end's the tombstones and the other end.
Is the power coming in,
Got it.
the line coming in from the panel. So I think personally, this doing retrofit lighting is more dangerous than a lot of other applications in this field, just because you're dealing with other people's wiring, and sometimes you don't know what they were thinking when they connected certain things. And then a lot of times I work live pretty much every day, so I've blown up a couple pairs of pliers and uh, just like little minor arc flashes. But after doing it for like a month, I haven't had that happen again, just because I'm more careful about what I'm cutting and what I'm touching when I'm handling those wires. And there's uh, a proper sequence to de-energizing like those light fixtures. Like you always wanna cut the hot wire first, and then the neutral, and then the ground, and then whatever other wires are coming out. And then when you're hooking it back up, you're gonna hook up the hot wire last. So that way, like when you're working on all your connections, nothing is live until that last minute when you splice together the hot wire.
That makes sense. Instead
So
of like grounding a hot connection.
yeah, so I think just like anything, like the more experience you get with it, like you just are more aware of certain things
Yes.
and get better with it.
Yes. What was it like blowing up those pliers?
Uh, it definitely startled me. Like, it's a pretty loud ass bang when it happens. And the reason that it is, you can cut a hot, like a wire with current going through it and nothing happens. Like, no blast. But it's when I cut the wire and my pliers are also touching metal, that's when that electricity is let out and like like a loud bang, and you see a little flash because the electricity is uh, faulting against the electrical box when I'm touching it.
Okay. So if
So
your go.
go ahead.
So if your pliers are cutting and touching the electrical box at the same time,
Or any piece of metal.
any piece of metal,
Yeah,
it's gonna set a spark. Or are the pliers just broken from that point?
yeah, because it blows like a perfect circle in them, and then you
Wow.
can't cut with them anymore. But I usually just exchange them at Home Depot for free if that happens.
For free.
Yeah, they have a warranty on their climb tools.
Nice.
Yeah,
Dang. So you use your own tools kit?
yeah, we have to bring our own hand tools, and then the contractor provides all the power tools.
Okay.
Yeah.
How often do you use hand tools versus power tools?
Uh, well, with what I'm doing, like retrofit lighting, I use a lot of tools compared to other jobs I've been on. Like I use I use my linemen's, my needle nose, my strippers, my 11 in 1 screwdriver, um, and then I have an impact as well, an impact drill. So I always have all those on me up on a ladder.
Got it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then also the diagonal cutters.
Diagonal cutters?
Yeah, those are the ones that I cut like pretty much all my wires with. Because the way that the diagonal cutters are shaped, it's like you can cut really precisely,
Okay.
and you definitely want to be careful when you're cutting any wires.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's kind of a dangerous job. Or how do you think it is, or do you think you can be safe?
I think it is dangerous um, for people who are not educated like correctly about it. So I think that a lot of the accidents, if they knew like what could happen, that they might have worked in a more safely manner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But another thing I was surprised because I have gotten shocked a few times, maybe 3 times in the past 2 months.
Okay.
And I would always expect it to be getting hit from a like a black hot wire. The hot wires are usually black, but I think it's more common to get hit by the neutral because in my personal experience, I've gotten hit by a neutral all 3 times. And a lot of people don't like pay attention when they're dealing with the neutral, but you definitely should.
How did you get shocked those times?
Uh, the first time, like I'm always reaching up in the ceiling when I'm doing can lights, and I was you have to like reach into the electrical box and kind of like separate all the different splices so you can find the power and the neutral that you're looking for. And this is what I was saying earlier that it's dangerous because you don't know what the previous electrician did or how how tightly they tighten their wire nuts. So in this case, um, I was like I said, separating the different splices from the box, and the wire nut on the neutral just fell off like it was barely tight, and I got zapped, and I just kind of felt it like travel up my hand, and then it kept traveling up like my wrist right here, and then by the time I let go, it stopped right here. But it wasn't that painful because it was only 120. It just kind of like felt like intense vibration, and uh, it's just kind of more shocking than painful. Kind of
Yes.
catches you off guard.
Very off guard.
Yeah,
It's pretty crazy sensation.
yeah, for sure.
Wow. So is it about voltage then, whether someone lives or dies from a shock usually?
I think it's technically more about the current, the intensity of, which is the intensity of the electrons. The
Okay.
higher current is what actually kills people, I believe.
Okay. Do you know some high circuit or high current systems?
Um, Not really, to be honest.
So you work with like 120, 240 usually?
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah. What are you doing for work?
Sometimes we have systems, and then especially for my old job, which we were installing systems abroad, they wouldn't have like clean power. Their power would spike up to like 270, or it would dip down way below 220, which is where it needed to be. And it was a huge issue. So we always had UPSs, um, uninterrupted power supplies, so that in case something happened, it would spike the UPSs instead of the equipment, which it did pretty often.
Oh,
Yeah,
so are you engineering that or are you installing that? Or what?
installing. I'm not engineering.
That
Engineering, that is a very impressive thing, but no.
that is still impressive installing that. I don't even know really anything about that. I certainly have a lot to learn.
It's
Okay.
it's like after like once an electrician places it in, we use that power. So,
Right.
but yes, if anyone has important equipment, like I think even medical uses it for their equipment or for like different types of government systems,
Yeah,
they'll
is it just like wired up to a generator as the backup or something?
n-
That,
sometimes,
yeah, I've seen that before.
but that's not, this is like to the grid's power more so.
Oh, okay.
Yes, this is a backup for when there is no generator and you're just using grid.
Hmm. Dude,
Y-
my my teacher this past week of school was showing us some really interesting videos on they're called, I think, battery power walls or something. Like there's people really getting into like battery usage and like powering their entire homes off of a battery wall. Uh,
I've
and
heard of that.
yeah,
I've read a book on battery power walls.
what did you think about that?
It's useful in our day and age.
Yeah,
Like Elon Musk has his company, the Tesla batteries, which are very useful, especially if the power goes out. We want batteries. It's kind of
right.
crazy how this wasn't thought of earlier, though.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, how did we not think about having higher storage of energy in batteries?
Yeah.
But what did your teacher say about that?
Oh, he just seemed super interested with it, and some of the guys in my class were like, "Oh, really? You can go? I think there's a warehouse in San Fernando or something where you can go and buy recycled batteries, and then I guess you have to like test them all and recharge
Yes.
them or whatever, because
Yes.
it could be dangerous for sure."
I've read that I've read a book on this, creating do yourself battery walls and battery packs. It's it doesn't seem like that useful, more like a hobby type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But
The guy they were showing in the video was like, that was his hobby for sure.
yes, but it's cool. And applying like a solar panel to it, and
Yeah, yeah. That's what he did.
he did.
Yeah,
That's very cool.
yeah.
I've I've worked on a system before that had like solar power and battery charging, and it's pretty interesting. Like, do you work with batteries?
No.
They're pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I install that has batteries in it is the emergency lights. Like they all are. We have to like install a separate ballast that has for the emergency power. Like if the power gets cut out, then those batteries will keep the lights on for a certain amount of time. I guess however many hours those batteries are rated for, I'm not sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that's like the ghetto way of installing emergency lights instead of like wiring them all up down to like a generator or something.
Have you worked with generators?
No, this one basketball gym at a high school we went to, uh, there were these, there were like 50 10-inch can lights, and there were like, I don't know how high is a gym, like 25 feet, 30 feet up high. And so we went up and we replaced them all with new LED lights. And when we were looking in there, it had two power sources, a black number, I think number 10, black number 10 wire, and then a red number 10 wire. And um, so we thought that was kind of weird, but we just put our voltage tester and saw there was power in the black one, and we went with that one. And then we went to turn on the lights, and only every other light turned on. And so my foreman was kind of stumped, and he's like, "Oh shit, what's going on?" And we went back up and opened up the light and kind of looked at the red wire a little longer, and was trying to like trace where it went. And after about like four or five of looking at them, we finally found out that the red one was the emergency, and they were all wired going towards a wall and then we went down there and found the generator.
So
So that's the only time that I've seen that before.
half of the lights were powered by generator.
Hello?
Did you hear me?
You kind of cut out for a second. You said half of what?
Half the lights were powered by generator.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. What were the other half powered by?
Uh, the panel.
Another. Really?
Yeah.
Is that a good way to wire electricity?
Uh, I mean, the way that the lights that were installed off the circuit from the panel, that's pretty standard. And that was the first time I saw that emergency wiring configuration. So I don't really have much experience with them, and I don't know. I don't know if that's typical or not.
That seems like it's not the
Yeah.
standard because they should all go to like one input and then you can switch it off. Say you want generators, say you want panel, battery, or grid. You can like switch from panel or grid to generator in case there's an emergency.
Yeah, that seems more logical.
Wow.
But I do see a lot of weird stuff, like especially going into a lot of older buildings in Skid Row in downtown LA.
Really?
Yeah, we had a good amount of work down there for about a month, like the fashion district area.
And what did you see?
Uh, I mean, mostly it's just disgusting. Like, just you go home completely dirty, like covered in rust dust, and drywall all in your hair, and like spider bites on your arms and stuff. But I haven't really seen anything too far out of the ordinary, I guess. Actually, I just remembered this one time we were down there at like a dress store, and I went into the back area where like they had like their office or whatever, and I started changing one of their light fixtures. I, like took off the cover, and then I was like looking at the ballast and all the connections, and um, one of the Wagos, which is like a wire nut, but it's like a port you just stick the wire into for a connection. It kind of looks like a Lego, but that thing, like as soon as I moved the wire, uh, the Wago caught fire, and it
Wow.
was just yeah. I was just like, how did this building not burn down already when there's been like a fire inside of the Wago? So uh, I don't know why it was sparking and like on fire really, but it was definitely like
Pretty crazy.
yeah.
Dang.
Kind of made me understand how um, there's a lot of electrical fires that like burn down houses and stuff.
Really? Is that a big issue, electrical fires?
I think so. I haven't looked it up, but
Wow. Well, do a lot of your coworkers experience things like these?
uh, no, because a lot of them don't work on live electricity. This retrofit lighting is they're usually like specialized shops, like smaller shops that only do lighting. And then most of my other classmates that are in my class, they work for bigger companies with, and they all do like core and shell stuff and like ground up projects, brand new electrical, and they don't even touch a wire the whole time. You know,
Got it.
they're bending conduit and running a pipe underground and just making all those connections and setting up all the panels and stuff.
Okay.
So they're
That
kind
ma-
of like two different jobs almost. They're pretty different.
they seem different. Yours seems like
Yeah,
more as an electrician job.
yeah. It seems that way for sure. I definitely feel more like an electrician actually dealing with wiring every day.
And
Uh,
electricity.
yeah, yeah. But on the other hand, you know, I don't want to stay here with this lighting company too long because I don't want to fall behind in like my uh, conduit bending skills, like which I really don't have much experience in yet. And I don't want to like once I get laid off here, I don't want to go to a big contractor and like have no experience in the type of work they do.
Got it.
You
So,
know.
does your apprenticeship allow you to psych a lot of positions?
Yes. If you've been with a contractor and you're doing the same thing for 6 months, you can request to go back to the hall and get a different job.
Are you
Uh,
gonna do that?
yes, most likely.
When is 6 months?
Like 4 months from now.
Got
But
it.
it's good. I enjoy like learning about all these light fixtures and stuff because I don't know. It's good to be a well-rounded electrician.
Yes, it
There's
is.
the problem with the bigger contractors is like I have classmates who have been doing the same type of work for like 3 years straight, and that happens with the bigger contractors because they have a lot bigger job sites. And I think it's better to be with smaller shops because you get a little bit more experience with smaller jobs. You get to be there throughout the whole process,
Yes.
you know. So
That's a huge learning experience.
yeah.
Have what were doing before lighting?
Oh, I was over by SoFi Stadium, and uh, it's called Hollywood Park Casino, or no, not casino, Hollywood Park Retail. So it's gonna be like a large retail center right outside the stadium. There's 17 buildings,
Wow.
and um, so that was a ground up project. So I started out doing underground work there, like running all the Edison runs from the main power lines. Like we had to dig like I think in some spots 20 like 15 feet deep and do all the shoring and stuff, and then I'd get down there and run the big 5-inch pipe and connect it to the vaults, the underground vault where the main power comes in from
Wow.
into the shopping center. So that was kind of more of like a strenuous job for sure. Um, like those 20-foot long 5-inch PVC pipes, like carrying them around all day, and then eventually they trained me on the Gradall forklift, which is like a big off-road forklift that has a boom, like booms out and stuff. So I got good at that, and then I kind of just became the forklift guy on the job site, which I enjoyed because it's those things are badass. They're huge, and I don't know. I like driving them.
That
And
sounds really cool. So what type of forklift did you have and what did you do?
they're called Gradles. They basically look like a big tractor with a boom. A boom is like a big shaft that extends out, kind of like a crane.
Okay.
So like these uh, these forklifts, the Gradles, they're designed for use in like dirt areas. So they have like big, huge tires, and they have outriggers to like level themselves out before you extend up. Like they can reach up 30 feet high.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. That
yeah,
operating that?
yeah. So I was the operator there for after we're done with the underground. I would just pretty much drive that, and then whenever my foreman needed something fixed, then I would go and help out with that.
Which one, how'd you like that? How did that compare to running lighting? More strenuous, you said?
Yeah, it's more strenuous, and I kind of would feel down about myself sometimes because like I wasn't really doing any type of important electrical work like installing conduit or anything like all the other more experienced guys were doing all day. But then again, I was still a first year apprentice there, and everyone has to start there at that point. Um, so it's good to get experience in the underground and driving the forklift and stuff because it'll for sure be useful. Like I was
Yes.
talking about earlier, it's good to be well rounded. So now I have experience in that, and then uh, when I started doing lighting, I felt more like an actual electrician, like you were saying earlier, because I'm
Yes.
actually dealing with live electricity and stuff.
Have
Um,
you started did you do your own electrical work once or twice for people?
just my dad. I put in some LED lights in his garage,
Nice.
and he was pretty happy with it.
Nice.
Yeah,
You can definitely make it. That's going to be a huge living in the future.
I hope so.
I know it's already big, but I think it's going to just be bigger.
Yeah, yeah, it is. That's what my the owner of the company I work for was saying. He's like, you should definitely get your own business and do what I do. He was like really enthusiastic about it. He's saying specifically with like lighting companies, the cost of materials is a lot lower than like other electrical contracts, like the other job I was talking about, the core and shell installation and the
Yes.
underground stuff.
That's way more like that's a lot of construction too, and like structural and
Yeah, it's like more construction than electrical work.
yes, exactly. Whereas what you're doing is almost exclusively electrical and like
Yes.
it's gonna be like consistently like throughout like I have a friend in Europe and he says that one of the best money making like some of the best paying jobs are plumbing and electrician, but like plumbing because they have really old plumbing like systems and like
Yeah.
people pay good money to have that fixed and working.
Right. Everyone needs their plumbing to be working.
Yes.
Yes.
And soon a lot of our electrical systems are going to be pretty outdated too, like in 20 years, 10 to
Yeah.
20 years. And there's going to be need to be more, what's the work that you're doing? What type of lighting?
That's they call it retrofit. lighting,
Retrofit lighting?
which basically just means that we replace an old light fixture with a new one.
Yes, exactly. And that's just going to need to be applied over and over and over again, pretty much until all humans are gone. Like, that's just very necessary.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good field to be in, I believe.
Yes. What
There is,
do you think you could have been an electrician without an apprenticeship program?
I think I would be capable of it, but I don't think I would be an electrician if I was not in the union. Um, just because before I got into the union, I was just working at a warehouse job, and um, I was pretty fed up with it. We worked like 65 hours a week and had no
Wow.
benefits. And I think the only reason I got into the electrical field is because my uh, coworker at the warehouse, he knew someone in management and for an electrical company, and he decided he wanted to go do that, and he referred me over to the same position, and I was excited about it, and I ended up really liking it. I like that it challenges you academically for sure, and I like that it's hands on. Uh, so it's kind of really like the best of both worlds for me, because I definitely can't work behind a desk 8 hours a day. Um,
Yes.
but this job allows me to like take pride in my education and also at the same time get to be a hands-on job.
Yes. And a very like respectable job that people need,
Yeah,
which is huge. Like if you're able to be a good electrician, people in the society value that a lot. And I think, you know, it's like I'm not sure, but I feel like retrofitting lighting could be a good one because you're taking things that are old and not very useful and making them much better and
yeah,
modern.
right. More efficient.
Yes. But without the apprenticeship, you wouldn't be an electrician, you don't think?
I don't think so. I mean, when I was unhappy at that warehouse, I was really started to think, what do I actually want to do? And I was actually interested in welding, and I was looking up different classes to do, or maybe if that's something I would want to do. And the more research I did, I just heard how bad it is for your health and your brain, welding, inhaling those toxic fumes from the metal, like when you're melting that metal together, it's toxic.
Really?
Yeah. So I
And
was
if you
thinking,
do it all the time, it's probably pretty gnarly.
yes. So I don't know. I definitely wanted to end up in the construction industry for sure. I think I would have been doing something along the lines of construction, but I'm glad I ended up in electrical.
And in the union,
Yeah.
okay,
Mhm.
got it. But without the union, you probably wouldn't have
Mm,
gotten.
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Is it easy to
Is
be
what
an
easier?
electrician, like without the apprenticeship or without going through the union? Or is it difficult?
I don't. I'm not sure because I've never worked for a non-union shop. Um, I think that they do a lot more. sketchy installs than the union does.
Got it.
Just because I don't know what their um, education requirements are. Uh, I feel like they just have like a bunch of unlicensed guys doing work that would be against OSHA. But that's just what I
What's
hear.
OSHA?
OSHA is uh, Occupational Safety Hazard Association.
Okay.
So, so they make up all the safety guidelines for like our whole country, but there's individual uh, OSHA's rules for each state. And California is one of the strictest.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot less accidents and deaths because of OSHA, which is good.
That is good.
Yeah.
So, being in the union, you're taking safer jobs, more legit, following better frameworks
Yes.
that keep you safer.
Yes, and that's why a lot of the big projects, like SoFi Stadium and big high-rise buildings in downtown, they all hire a union because they know that all of us union members
I can't, we can't hear you, Kyle.
Can, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I was just saying that the big projects like high-rise buildings and football stadiums, they all hire a union because they know that all of us union members are upheld to
A high standard.
OSHA standards, you know, and we all have our formal education, and uh, we all get drug tested and are held accountable, uh,
Yes.
and we're taught to install correctly.
Yes, by OSHA's standard, at
Right,
least.
right.
Whereas you don't know if you're going to get that from a non-union
Yeah.
entity.
Well, you you very well might. There's some good non-union shops out there for sure, but I think the big difference is they're not um, really held to the same standard because they're smaller shops and not upheld to like the union standards. Uh,
That makes sense.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
Unions. So you didn't go to school. You didn't really want to, or
Are you
what was
talking about
college?
college?
Yes.
After high school, I did go to junior college in San Diego for like 2 years, and I took just general ed classes and took like a couple of PE classes. I took swimming and volleyball, and that was fun. But I didn't have a car at the time, and I was taking the trolley to school, and then having to go take the trolley for like another hour after I got out of school straight to work downtown. And I just kind of lost motivation because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I was spending all this time and effort on traveling all around San Diego, and I'd have like 14 to 16-hour days. I was just exhausted and didn't really have an interest in what I really wanted as a career. So I stopped going to school and just kept working uh, at a seafood restaurant in downtown, and eventually moved back up to Orange County area and then started working at that warehouse. And I met that guy, Jonathan, my coworker, who referred me into the union. So I'm glad that I ended up doing electrical.
That's good to hear. Are you nearly halfway through your second year?
Yeah, so it's a 5 year program, and I just finished um, my second class. So I have one more class, and then I'll be halfway done with the program.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's exciting. Getting
yeah,
through.
yeah. Like time flies. Really, I think it goes by quickly because we're working.
That's huge. That's a good feeling.
Yeah, I thought it would be.
Kyle, I don't think we can hear you anymore. Now we can.
Oh, guess there's
Yes.
service right here.
Yes, I think if you're using an iPhone, the bottom of the iPhone is your microphone.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but when I was at the gym today, I was like doing some of my physical therapy stuff for my knee, and there's like these weird bumps, like on right where I had my surgery done on my meniscus, and it was kind of concerning me. So I messaged uh, my doctor and asked him if I could get a picture of the MRI before and after the surgery, just because I don't know. I feel like my recovery is taking longer than it should, and there's like some things that look weird in my knee. So I just wanted to like ask for those pictures, and I don't know if they can do that. Um, they're making it pretty difficult to get the actual pictures. I don't know why it's so difficult to like. I think that it's interesting. I definitely want to see what my torn meniscus looks like, and then like what it looks like when it's fixed up. You know,
What are you gonna do with that? With those pictures?
I just want to look at them to confirm. Mostly what I'm concerned about is like they they put in 3 implants into my meniscus. They're like little spikes to hold it together. So that's what I think is sticking out of the side of my knee. It looks like the ends of those spikes, and um, I'm really not going to do much with the pictures. I just want to see for myself because I'm curious to see what it looks like.
Okay.
But I do have physical therapy set up this week, so I'm sure they'll be able to tell me what's going on with it.
Hopefully. Good
Yeah,
luck. That sounds kind of crazy.
yeah.
So you said your knee recovery hasn't been going too quickly?
Well, I mean, the surgeon, he wrote me a doctor's note to be off of work for, I think it was 3 months. So I kind of just assumed that I'd be recovered in 3 months. Um, it's been like almost
Can't hear
5
you any.
months. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I was just saying the surgeon was telling me that I'd be recovered in 3 months, but it's been like 5 months, and I can't jump. I can't jump at all, or like do really much any lateral stuff or pivoting movements. So I'm just kind of concerned why it's taking so long to recover.
Yes. Well, hopefully you can recover quickly
Yeah,
or something. That's kind of frightening.
yeah.
So, but you've been doing a little rehab.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gone to a physical therapist in like 5 weeks, but I've continued to do the exercises that they gave me, like when I go to the gym. But I didn't go for like a month because I was transitioning doctors. I moved from Fullerton to Long Beach.
Got it.
So
Well,
yeah,
make sure to ask that physical therapist about the thing sticking out of your knee.
yeah,
Well, Kyle, thanks for coming on the podcast. It
yeah,
was good talking to you.
yeah. You too. It's
Are
always
there
good.
any what? Are there any
Uh,
last words you'd like to say to me or everyone listening?
yeah, sure. I was just gonna say, it's always good to see a familiar face, and you're always good conversation. So thanks for inviting me on.
You're welcome. You're always good conversation too. Bye,
Thank
Kyle.
you. Yeah.